What's going on, guys? David Falla here. Welcome to my channel and welcome to another tutorial. On today's video, we're going to be doing a high fade. We're going to achieve this by using a down fading technique. I know a lot of you want to learn this technique, so that's what we're going to be doing today. The first thing we're going to do, we're going to connect the top with the sides. We're going to be using a number 2 with the lever open, and that's going to help us connect the top with the sides. The client does not want to cut the top, so that's why we started with a number 2 open, just because I tried number 3 and honestly it wasn't cutting anything. So at step 2, we're going to use a number 1.5 now, lever open, and then we're going to close that lever. So all we're going to do really is that we're going to start going from the highest guard, which is, it was number 2 in this case, to the lowest guard. And we're going to be using the lever open first, and then we're going to be using the lever closed. So to me, this is a super easy technique to do a fade. For some people, it might not be easy, but it's just, I want to show you guys another technique. And sometimes this is what I do when I'm at the shop. I'm just using this type of technique because to me it makes it a lot easier. But you can see now I close that lever and just continue with the steps. Step 3, we're going to be using a 1, and we're going to continue doing the same. Just a 1 open, and then we're going to close that lever. And then once that we don't hear the machine cutting anymore, we don't hear that, or we don't see that it's cutting anything anymore, then we're going to go ahead and close that lever. Now we're going to be using a half or 1/16. I know many machines don't come with this guard, but honestly, if you are trying to do skin fades, this guard is going to save your life. So if you don't have this guard, you can order it on Amazon or whatever you buy your tools from. But honestly, this is a lifesaver that you are going to be very happy if you get it, because honestly it just sometimes it makes such a huge difference. So we'll continue doing the same. We're going to start with the lever open, and then we're going to close that lever little by little. If you want to, you can close it right away. It's up to you, but usually what I like to do with like the smaller guards is that I start open and then little by little start closing it until I don't see that it's cutting anything else, or I don't hear the machine cutting anymore. Step 5, we're going to close that lever, and then we're going to create a skin line. Nowadays I like doing my skin line using the clipper. Before I used to use my trimmer, and sometimes I have problems erasing that line without using the same trimmer, right? So now I like to create that line or this guide or this section using the machine with the lever closed, and then it just makes it so much easier, in my opinion, to erase that line later, because whatever machine you use to create a section is the same machine you're going to use to erase it. So that's just a little tip that I give you guys there. Next step, we're going to remove everything below the guide that we created. So in this case, I'm using a detachable blade with like 5 zeros, I think it is, or 6 zeros, and this is just gonna allow me to first save my trimmers, because I don't like using my trimmers for this. And second, it's just gonna create such a smooth surface, so I can actually use my shaver after and just create like a very nice shave and just leave the bottom really nice. For this step, we're going to use electric shaver, and then something to keep in mind is that the more pressure you apply, the more obviously it's going to cut. So what we're going to do is that once we start getting closer to that skin line that we created with the 0, we're going to apply less pressure so we don't create a line or a guide or a mark, right? So just very important that you pay attention to your pressure to make sure that you don't make it harder on yourself later. So for this video, you can see I created a little line because I wanted to show you guys what you can do if you do create a line. So in this case, I'm using a trimmer. That is, this one is sharp, and then I'm using it to remove that little line that I created. And if in case that happens to you, now you know how to erase it. Step 9, we're going to start removing that skin line. So all we're going to do is we're going to start with the lever open, and then we're going to start closing that lever little by little. I would recommend you to, in some parts, especially where the head starts rounding, to use a little bit more of the corners, because it's going to make it a little more precise for you and a little bit easier to remove that line without making another line somewhere else. So if you are trying to remove a section like this one and then you use the whole blade in a flat surface, then it's fine, right? But if the head starts turning or curving, and then you use the whole blade, there's a chance that you might create another guide somewhere else. So that's why I use a lot of the corners, and all you gotta do is just kind of play with the lever, open it, then close it little by little, close it until it's fully closed. And once it's fully closed, then you might have to go back and just kind of work on areas that are a little bit darker. But that's, at this point, honestly, is just use the mirror to see what you need to do and what needs to be done on the fade, and just continue working on until you are happy with the result. So once we're done with the fade, we're going to do the shape up. So for the shape up, I like to start right in the center and just work my way like out to the corners. I like to use the mirror for this just to make sure that it's all even. And it's very important, I will say, that you use your mirror. Sometimes, honestly, like I do a shape up and it looks really straight, and then when I look in the mirror, I'm like, oh wow, it's not straight at all. So just make sure to use the mirror, because it will really help you to create those super sharp lines. In this case, my trimmer, the one that I'm using right now, is not zero gap, so it's just natural. It's just stock the way it comes from the factory. What I like to do is I like to have one trimmer that is kind of like zero gap, so it's very sharp, and another one that is not. But with these TL liners, honestly, I feel that you don't really need to zero gap them. How you can see, it creates a very sharp line. For step 11, we're going to use the razor to make this shape even a lot sharper. That's why I don't like to have trimmers that are super sharp, because you can use a razor for this. I did not include the beard in this video and this tutorial, just because I feel like sometimes I can put so much stuff into the same video that some of you get overwhelmed, especially those that are just starting. So if you guys want me to do a tutorial and show the beard, what I did with the beard, how I shaped it, then let me know. I'll gladly just do a separate video on that. I'm trying to do like maybe shorter videos that you guys can follow in an easier manner. That's why like I'm doing it by steps and things like that. I'm trying to make it easier for everybody, right? And sometimes I feel like when, like for example, when I go to classes and there's like they show like so much, like it's great because you see all this stuff, but sometimes you don't learn a lot because it's like you get overwhelmed with the amount of information. So for this tutorial, I kind of wanted to just focus on the fade and on the shape up. And then like I said, if you guys want me to do another video doing the beard and what I use to make it so sharp, then of course let me know, and I will definitely do that. So one of the questions that I get asked the most is how to use the razor, right? What's the right way to use the razor? And I'm gonna explain to you the way I use it, right? So what I do is like I place the razor in like a 30, maybe like a 40-degree angle. You don't want to make it too 90 degrees because then you're gonna cut somebody, right? If you make it too flat, then it's not gonna do anything. So something like a little bit lower than 45 degrees, definitely. And what I do is just make sure you stretch the skin, right? And also be aware that if you stretch the skin too much, you are not gonna create straight lines. You're gonna create round lines. So just keep that in mind. I usually like to I prefer to not shave, like dry shave. So what I do, I warm up a hot towel and then apply, and then I put some shaving product, just because I want the client to have like a very smooth shave. if you are learning, if you're new to as a barber and you want to learn how to use the razor, I'll recommend you to practice on yourself. So shave your legs, shave your arms, and like that you're gonna learn how to place the razor correctly. You're gonna learn about what products work best, because then, you know, once you cut yourself once or twice, it's gonna be so much easier to stop doing that. And that's just what I recommend. And let me know. I mean, that's the way I did it, and it worked for me. So I hope that tip works for you. Here I just put a little bit of product, and I think it just looks sharp. The fade looks very clean. The beard looks super sharp. This is a very nice haircut. If you guys enjoyed the video, don't forget to subscribe, like it, share with others, so it helps the channel grow. And that's it, guys. I hope to see you guys on the next one. Take care.